like a big Italian family, big Spanish family.
Yeah.
And her grandmother was kind of the glue that held that all together.
Every single day, I bring you another story straight from Hollywood's golden age, the moments that built legends and broke hearts. If you love keeping these memories alive, hit that subscribe button. It's totally free, but it means the world. Richard Gere ruled Hollywood as the silver-haired heartthrob, the man who turned Pretty Woman into a fairy tale and made millions believe in charm, class, and irresistible mystery. Every move, every smirk, every glance, pure magic on screen. But now at 76, that flawless image cracked wide open. Gere finally dropped a truth he'd been keeping locked away for decades. 5 women he secretly adored, all legendary stars, all off-limits to anyone but him. These weren't just actresses. They were what he called American angels, untouchable, flawless, and unforgettable. And when you hear the first name on his list, it'll make your jaw drop. Julia Roberts, the woman who made him lose all control. She wasn't just a co-star, she was the spark that lit something real. Gere confessed she's the only woman who ever made him forget he was acting. That magic in Pretty Woman, it wasn't staged, it was them. Julia had this effortless charm, this warmth that slipped past his defenses like no one else ever could. Gere even admitted more than once that she had a power over him that no script could ever recreate. Being around Julia felt dangerous. Not movie dangerous, but heart-racing. Real dangerous. Gere said that kind of energy wasn't supposed to happen in acting, but with her it did. The moment that changed everything came during a quiet rehearsal, long before the camera started rolling. They were sitting at a tiny restaurant table running lines when Julia did something so simple yet unforgettable. She slipped her hand under the table and traced her fingertip across Gere's palm, slow, soft, and deliberate. It was her method, her way to build emotional heat, but for him it was like an electric jolt. Gere later confessed, "She did this tiny thing with her fingers and suddenly it wasn't a scene anymore. It was us." That's when it hit him. Julia could pull him out of character with just one touch and pull him straight into something dangerously real. What made it even wilder was how effortless she was about it. Julia would laugh, lean in close, brush his arm like it meant nothing, then lock eyes with him, and hold that stare long enough to make him completely forget his next line. Crew members started whispering about what they were seeing, and one cameraman even admitted he stopped filming for a moment because he felt like he was intruding on something too personal. Richard admired Julia's mix of innocence and boldness, the way she acted straight from the heart instead of hiding behind technique. She wasn't fierce like Sharon Stone or quietly dangerous like Diane Lane. She was warm, open, and heartbreakingly real. And that, Richard said, made her the most dangerous of them all. Even now, he admits that if Julia had ever whispered, "Let's disappear for the weekend," he wouldn't have hesitated. He would have gone, no questions asked. Then came Sharon Stone, the woman who turned danger into pure desire. Gere still remembers the exact second she stepped into his life because his whole body reacted before his brain even caught up. There were no fancy introductions, no Hollywood chit-chat. Sharon just locked eyes on him from across the room and started walking his way. When she reached him, she didn't say a word. She simply lifted her hand and brushed a piece of invisible lint off his shoulder. Slow, deliberate, confident. Then she gave that infamous half smile, the kind that said she wasn't hoping to impress him. She was choosing him. In that instant, Gere knew he was in trouble. He later confessed, "Sharon didn't flirt like normal people. She hunted," and he meant that as the ultimate compliment. But what made his obsession grow wasn't just the heat between them. It was her unpredictable fire on set. Sharon could go from cracking jokes with the crew to being laser-focused in a heartbeat. One second she was playful, the next she was commanding the entire room. Gere once said she could drop a line so sharp and raw it cut right to the heart of the scene, leaving everyone stunned, including him. "I had to stay alert around her," Richard admitted. "Blink once and she'd steal the whole scene." He loved that about Sharon. She didn't wait for direction. She created it. She wasn't afraid to challenge a director, to step in closer to Gere than the script called for, or to shift the pace of a scene if she sensed the truth hiding somewhere deeper. That fearlessness drove him wild. It was raw, unpredictable, and impossible to ignore. One moment from rehearsal burned itself into his memory. In the middle of a line, Sharon suddenly grabbed Gere's wrist and whispered, "Don't act, react." It wasn't written, it wasn't planned, but it hit him like lightning. That single whisper woke him up in a way no acting class ever had. Sharon didn't just perform, she shocked him into being real, both on-screen and off. Professionally and personally, she rattled him, and that mix of power and passion made her completely unforgettable. Then came Diane Lane, the quiet flame who nearly made him cross the line. What happens when two actors share a scene so intense that even the director questions if it's still acting? That's exactly what surrounded Richard and Diane for years. He never denied the chemistry, and honestly, he couldn't. Diane wasn't like Sharon, who came at you with fire. She pulled you in softly like gravity until you realized you were caught. She didn't have to chase desire. She made it come to her. Her calm energy was its own kind of danger. Richard said Diane had this way of listening that made every word he spoke land harder, deeper, more real. He swore she could change the emotional temperature of an entire scene with just one breath. During a rehearsal, Diane was supposed to deliver a simple line of guilt, nothing dramatic, just a quiet moment. But instead, she slowed everything down. She took a tiny step closer, rested her forehead gently against Richard's, and whispered, "Don't answer yet. Let it hurt first." That one line hit him harder than anything he'd rehearsed. Richard froze. No one had ever used silence against him like that. That was Diane's magic. She didn't act from skill, she acted from scars. Gere later admitted, "Diane makes you act with your truth, not your talent." And for a veteran like him, that was both intoxicating and terrifying. She didn't play to impress, she played to connect. Sometimes she'd hold eye contact just a second too long, breathe in perfect rhythm with him, or adjust her voice to match his every emotional shift. Those tiny, precise moves made Richard feel seen in a way that completely disarmed him. Then came one take he never forgot. Diane's voice cracked mid-scene, completely unscripted. Instead of stopping, Richard reached out and took her hand. She didn't pull away. She let the vulnerability hang there between them. For a few seconds, they weren't acting. They were just there, sharing something raw and real. That kind of connection haunted him. It's what he spent his whole career chasing. And it's exactly why Diane Lane carved out a space in his heart that even he can't explain. Then came Michelle Pfeiffer, the woman who could undo him without ever laying a finger on him. Richard never expected her to have that kind of effect. Her power wasn't loud or physical, it was quiet, psychological, almost dangerous. She didn't need to touch him to make him feel exposed. That mystery, that untouchable aura, is what locked her into the 4th spot on his secret list. The moment Richard fell under Michelle Pfeiffer's spell happened quietly. No bright lights, no rehearsed scene, just a casting meeting in the late 80s. She walked in, sat across from him, folded her hands, and stared straight into his soul. For 10 long seconds, she didn't smile, didn't say a word, just looked at him with that razor-sharp focus that made him forget why he was even there. Those 10 seconds changed everything. Richard later confessed, "Michelle didn't have to say a word. I felt like she already figured me out." No other actress had ever done that to him. Her silence wasn't empty. It was powerful. It made him nervous, intrigued, and completely thrown off his game. And the way she worked made her even more dangerous for him. Michelle wasn't just talented, she was surgical in her precision. She didn't rehearse to memorize lines, she rehearsed to strip away lies. She'd cut through everything fake until only raw truth remained. When she stepped into a scene, it was like being dissected by calm, elegant honesty, and Richard couldn't look away. There was one test scene he'd never forget. He tried improvising, adding an emotional twist that wasn't in the script, just to see how she'd react. Michelle didn't flinch. She took a sharp breath, let her voice tremble just slightly, and whispered, "Don't lie to me, not here." It wasn't written, but it landed like a punch to the chest. That moment hit Richard harder than any kiss or touch ever could. He adored her control, the way her restraint made every glance feel loaded, every pause feel intentional. Gere once told a close friend, "With Michelle, you don't chase her body, you chase her depth." And that depth is exactly what made her unforgettable. Sophia Loren, the untouchable dream he never outgrew. Unlike the others on Richard Gere's secret list, Sophia wasn't there because of passion, danger, or forbidden sparks. She was there because she awakened something in him he hadn't felt since he was a kid. Pure awe. She didn't just turn heads. She stopped time. The moment that sealed his lifelong fascination happened long before they ever shared a scene or even spoke professionally. It was at a European award ceremony in the late 80s. Sophia walked toward him with that effortless Italian grace that only she possessed. She reached out, placed her palm gently on his cheek, soft, maternal, yet heartbreakingly intimate, and said, "You look too serious for a man with eyes like that." Richard froze. He couldn't even find words. He laughed about it years later, but in that moment, the Hollywood icon turned into a nervous teenager under her gaze. That single touch didn't just fluster him, it rewired something inside him. But what truly locked his admiration in place wasn't that one meeting. It was the way Sophia worked. She didn't force emotion or chase attention. Instead, she commanded every scene with stillness and truth, drawing everyone, including Richard, to rise up and meet her level. During a masterclass they both attended, Sophia told a room full of younger actors, "If you don't live with your heart open, the camera will know." That line struck him like a revelation. Richard never forgot it. He said it changed how he approached vulnerability forever. To him, Sophia wasn't just a legend, she was gravity itself. Her very presence pulled him to stand taller, act truer, and bring more honesty to everything he did. And privately, Gere admitted she made him want to be better, not just as an actor, but as a man. "I never desired Sophia the way I desired the others," Richard once said. "I desired to be worthy of her." That right there says it all. It wasn't about heat or chemistry, it was about reverence, that rare kind of admiration that never fades. That's exactly why Sophia Loren remains the dream he could never escape, even after decades of fame, love, and heartbreak. Now that Richard Gere has finally confessed the 5 women who left their mark on his heart, Julia Roberts, Sharon Stone, Diane Lane, Michelle Pfeiffer, and Sophia Loren, which name shocked you the most? And do you think any of those feelings might have secretly gone both ways? Drop your thoughts in the comments. We want to hear what you think. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more wild Hollywood stories, and make sure you turn on the notification bell so you don't miss the next deep dive into the secrets Tinseltown doesn't want you to know. See you in the next one.